Peter, distinguished speakers, guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It really gives me great pleasure to join you at the Hong Kong Institute of Urban Design Conference 2016, especially when I was told that this is the second conference after the one that I attended in 2012 as a Secretary for Development. It has been almost 6 years since I attended the inauguration reception of the Hong Kong IUD. Indeed, Hong Kong IUD was one of several new institutions established during my tenure as a Secretary for Development. The others are the Hong Kong Green Building Council and the Hong Kong Institute of Architectural I can never pronounce this right, the Hong Kong Institute of Architectural Conservationists. These mission-driven bodies, unlike their professional counterparts such as the Hong Kong IA, the Hong Kong IE, the Hong Kong IP, etc., are cross-discipline entities. As Peter has mentioned, they bring together people from various professions for a common cause, and that is the betterment of our city environment. Their coming into being is, I hope, also a reflection of the government policies and initiatives adopted over the years, which are conducive to a quality city. They include adoption of urban design guidelines, revitalization of heritage buildings, promotion of green buildings, beautification of the harbour front, greening master plans, public arts, etc. I'm naturally delighted to have been associated with most of these policies and initiatives. But more needs to be done to meet our people's growing aspirations for a quality city and to attract talents to come to live and work in Hong Kong. I therefore commend the Hong Kong IUD for putting together this conference with a theme of betterment of the city. I also wish to congratulate the conference committee chaired by Charles for lining up such distinguished speakers and panelists coming from overseas, the mainland, and Hong Kong. I'm sure through their enlightening remarks, they will contribute to the objective of this conference, as mentioned by Peter in his message in the brochure, which is to serve as a catalyst to examine ways in which we can collectively act to better the city for this and future generations. If I were to find fault with the conference committee, it would be the conspicuous absence of engineers amongst the speakers and panelists. I hope there are at least some engineers in the audience. Put up your hand if you are an engineer. Not bad, we have a few. As I'm sure Peter and other founding members of Hong Kong IUD will remember, when I spoke at the inauguration reception, I specifically encouraged my engineering colleagues in the civil service to support the Hong Kong IUD and suggested that a more intensive recruitment of engineers into the Institute should be undertaken. Today, although I'm no longer responsible for the development and infrastructure portfolio, I remain of the view that our common mission of creating a quality city environment will have a higher chance of success if the value of urban design is fully embraced by engineers, whether you like it or not, who play a pivotal role in Hong Kong's development. You just count how many of the directors are engineers, as well as the permanent secretary in charge of infrastructure in Hong Kong. So the first thing I will do this morning is to make a further appeal to Hong Kong IUD and to my engineer friends. Support urban design. The conference today discusses challenges and opportunities for the betterment of the city environment. In my opinion, there can't be any better testing ground than Hong Kong. Hong Kong is amongst the world's most compact and high-density cities and advanced economies. Any visitor coming to Hong Kong would be amazed at how interconnected our city is. By clustering our built-up areas in about a quarter of our land area, everything has become so accessible. The high degree of connectivity has fueled our economic development by unparalleled efficiency. What shapes our urban form today, by and large, is our integrated land use transport environment approach to planning and development. High-density developments are predominantly located at or near rail stations. This rail-based and transit-oriented mode of development has enabled Hong Kong to promote urban mobility and optimize the use of urban space despite the scarcity of developable land. But our city design is not only about high-rises, intertwined infrastructures, and connectivity. One must not forget and can hardly overlook our unique Victoria Harbour, being one of the key cityscapes that distinguishes Hong Kong from many megapolis. Over the years, with the active participation of the Hong Kong IUD, the then Harbourfront Enhancement Committee, and subsequently the Harbourfront Commission, have made tremendous contributions to the betterment of the Victoria Harbourfront and our city planning. The Harbourfront Enhancement Committee devised the harbour planning guidelines, principles and guidelines, which served as a yardstick of urban design, amongst other elements such as development density, building height, permeability, and streetscape design. Since 2011, the Harbourfront Commission has processed over 100 projects before they went through the statutory town planning procedures. Quality urban design, placemaking, and application of green and blue spaces are indispensable to creating a vibrant harbourfront. We have implemented projects along the harbourfront that bring better connectivity and a quality landscape. For example, the Tamer Government Offices designed by Rocco Yim, who will speak later today, has helped form seamless connection of urban landscaping nodes from the Hong Kong Park all the way to the waterfront promenade, which has become a popular open space for the public, and also a very popular place for protests. More projects are in the pipeline that will offer a good testing ground for urban design to be applied on a more extensive scale. They are the Kai Tak development in the context of energizing Kowloon East, the new Central and Harbour and Wan Chai Harbourfront upon completion of the Central Wan Chai Bypass and the West Kowloon Cultural District. These harbourfront sites could help brew innovative pursuits. Later today, you will hear from the West Kowloon Cultural District Authority CEO Duncan Pascott on our plans for placemaking in the WKCD. Amongst them, the public creatives adopted in the Kai Tak development is a place branding concept introduced in 2011 when Stephen Tang, Stephen, where are you? When Stephen Tang was the Kai Tak commissioner, is that right? Okay. Which aims to establish visual identity through a unified design theme reflected in street furniture, paving pattern, and building design elements of the whole area. Some of these urban design elements have gradually taken shape and been adopted in new projects in the area, including the street names. Even the street names in Kai Tak were come up by designers. To create a distinctive residential neighborhood with intimately scaled urban street blocks, low-rise residential buildings will be lined along 10-meter wide pedestrian streets to encourage interaction in the neighborhood. Pedestrian streets are designed to echo the podium-free, medium and low-rise blocks disposition with courtyards design concepts of the grid neighborhood for a well-balanced and interesting vista to enhance community interactions. The Kai Tak experience demonstrates the importance of urban design in the creation of a sense of identity and quality space for a locality. Moving just slightly eastbound, we see the regeneration of Kwun Tong and Kowloon Bay up and running under the Energizing Kowloon East initiative. And the deputy head is here, Winnie, of the Energizing Kowloon East office. One of the urban planning principles we try to drive at Kowloon East is to enhance walkability and improve environment. Apart from the idea of a smart, green, and low-carbon, healthy living concept, we pay particular attention to urban design to create pedestrian-friendly and vibrant street life in Kowloon East. Quick wins such as the back alley project at Kowloon East provides alternative pathways to relieve crowdedness on existing pavements in Kwun Tong. Meanwhile, as announced in the latest policy address, we are taking steps to provide incentives to the private sector by way of waiving land premium payable for lease modification for the provision of pedestrian links to expand the existing pedestrian networks using Kowloon East as a pilot area. For betterment of the blue-green infrastructures, we also initiated the Kai Tak River and Shui Ping River projects by synergizing the hydrological and ecological value of landscape in the urban drainage system in Kowloon East. The importance of urban design is not only about creating something new for the future, but also about preserving our past. Without heritage, our city will lose the history and culture underpinning the urban landscape today. Hong Kong has been striving to include heritage conservation into our development blueprint. Some 15 government-owned historic buildings have been given a new lease of life under the Revitalizing Historic Buildings Through Partnership scheme. These projects offer potential for the uplifting of the neighborhood, especially through urban design and concerted efforts. One of the great potential along this theme is the Blue House cluster in Wan Chai. That's why I'm chasing Chris Law to speed up the completion of this project. I'm gratified to see that individual projects under Conserving Central, announced in 2009, are coming into place, offering the much-needed quality public space for the people to enjoy. I'm sure many of you have visited the PMQ on Hollywood Road, and we will be eagerly looking forward to the commissioning of the Central Police Station compound later this year. This project, jointly taken forward by the government and the Hong Kong Jockey Club Charities Trust, is by far the largest heritage conservation project in Hong Kong. It involves 16 historic buildings and 2 open spaces, and the compound as a whole will be transformed into a leading cultural destination by integrating heritage, contemporary arts, and leisure facilities for public enjoyment, especially with 2 new small buildings created by Herzog and Dumuron. The revitalization process of the Central Police Station project demonstrates how better and more creative urban design solutions can actualize our collective vision of making Hong Kong more enjoyable for all Hong Kong residents. The project not only involves international collaboration and experience sharing of conservation specialists, researchers, architects, and other professionals from all over the world, but also excels in terms of community participation. While I have shared with you various examples on the new and the old, our effort in making Hong Kong a better place will not be complete without a holistic long-term planning strategy. This is where Hong Kong 2030 Plus, towards the planning vision and strategy transcending 2030, comes in. Soon to be launched for public engagement, the Hong Kong 2030 Plus is a manifestation of our multi-pronged territorial strategy through spatial planning. It promotes livability, embraces new economic challenges and opportunities, and creates capacity for sustainable growth beyond 2030. Livability is perhaps the closest kin to urban design. It is not just about the physical environment, housing, job opportunities, or welfare services, but also about choices of lifestyle and aspirations to call a place home. Improving our livability through better planning and urban design will ensure that Hong Kong remains competitive, attractive, and unique as Asia's world city. We shall continue to take pride in being the center for professional services and a hotbed for converging capital, innovation, and talents. The Hong Kong 2030 Plus seeks to continue the urban design directions, including better greening and air ventilation considerations, the promotion of people-oriented streetscapes, and a sense of place within the built environment. We will further strive for walkability, better physical and functional integration of the city, conserving built heritage through a point-line plane approach and optimizing the efficient use of precious land resources. Despite some achievements made in the direction of promoting and embracing urban design, I realize that more needs to be done at the vision, policy, and engagement aspects in building a better city. I'm sure some of the speakers and panelists will touch on this theme later on. This is particularly important given the pressure of housing and demand of land to meet various economic and social needs. I believe speakers at the conference today will shed some light on these very difficult areas. But I hope that you will not just pinpoint the problems or voice your complaints, but also explore solutions to help us strike a balance between competing demands. After all, urban design is a collective endeavor. It is about shaping our city, the city we live in, and the life we lead together. The conference today will renew our collaboration with more food for thought. So I thank Peter and his team for making this possible, and I wish this conference a huge success. Thank you very much.